especially welcome those of you who have supported our graduates. So I want to tell you something of the meaning of this ceremony and the part that you play in it. We think the ceremony is about 900 years old. These colourful gowns and bonnets and hoods all have their own histories and place in its tradition. A tradition which continues to honour three powerful ideas: academic freedom, fearless inquiry, and an uncompromising quest for excellence. Academic freedom, the notion that we should be able to teach and learn, debate, discuss without fear of coercion, arose with the medieval universities that emerged in Europe at the end of what we now call the Dark Ages. The ideas of the pursuit of the truth and the passion for excellence can be traced much further back to Plato's school in Athens 2,500 years ago. Plato named his school the Academy after the Athenian hero Academus. And it may surprise you to learn that many tutorials here are still taught according to the Socratic method of inquiry named after Plato's famous teacher, Socrates. As graduates of the University of Melbourne, one of the great universities of the world, you automatically become part of that ancient and noble tradition. And why, you may well ask, should that be of any importance to you in 2014? Well, it's important because the threads that hold our civilised society together are remarkably fragile and easily broken, as you can see by looking at the theatres of conflict and chaos in the world around us. Iraq, Syria, Ukraine among them. And in our country, one of a handful of stable democracies in the world, it is often assumed that the freedoms we enjoy are somehow guaranteed. But if the events unfolding in Sydney over the last 24 hours don't remind us of their fragility, then surely the awful fate of 38 of our countrymen in the skies high above eastern Ukraine will. And yet these tenuous threads are so often taken for granted by people who ought to know better. In our politics, our media, our business world, even on our sporting field. As Socrates wisely observed so long ago, bad manners are the beginning of chaos. Our university traditions of independent thought, the pursuit of the truth, and that striving for excellence have provided much of the glue that binds these delicate threads of civil society together, as they have done through countless conflicts, surviving depressions, disasters and despots, the birth and death of empires and nation-states for 1,000 years. That's why it's important. That's why so many of your faculty have given up their morning to join with you at this event. And to the parents and partners and family members and friends who have supported our graduates, that's why your contribution is so important. Not only to the graduate in your life, but to the very health of our civil society. And on behalf of the university, I thank you. Some people think the reason for studying here is to gain a mere qualification, a meal ticket, a passport to self-enrichment. And indeed, it can be all of those things. But your ancestors at the Academy, from Michelangelo to Mies van der Rohe, from Gaudi to Geary, they would say the real reason for your having been here is to gain a glimpse of the life you can live, enriched and inspired by the wisdom and insights of those who have preceded you and illuminated the path across 25 centuries. It is to invite you to consider forging a life where you make a difference, where you pull your weight as a citizen, where you take the skills of analysis and independent and creative thought you've gained here and use your learning to make a positive contribution to the world. Shortly, I will commence admitting you to the rank and privileges of your degree. You'll be entitled to use the letters of your degree after your name, and the University of Melbourne becomes forevermore your alma mater, which in Latin means nurturing mother. And like a nurturing mother, the university is keenly interested in your progress, and we ask that you stay in touch through our alumni network around the world. Should you choose the path of making a difference, you will find the university community a continuing source of encouragement, inspiration and support. Now, I have no way of knowing who among you will choose that path, but having regard to your chosen fields of study, I am certain that many of you will, and it is therefore an honour for me to confer your degree today. I congratulate you all on your achievement, and wherever life's journey takes you, your university wishes you well. Thank you.
Deputy Chancellor, Phyllis Murphy commenced her architectural education at Melbourne Technical College before transferring to the University of Melbourne Architectural Atelier. She was a brilliant student, winning several prizes, and after several years of work and travel, she enrolled at the University of Melbourne, graduating with a Bachelor of Architecture degree in 1950, one of only 2 women in 80 students to graduate. After her studies, Phyllis formed an architectural partnership with her husband John Murphy, and they were successful early on in submitting the winning design for the Olympic Swimming Stadium for the 1956 Olympic Games in Melbourne. Residential commissions and large developments followed, and their work was widely published in Australia and overseas. In the late 1950s, Phyllis supported the establishment of the National Trust in Australia, in Victoria. And for over a decade, Phyllis and her husband worked in an honorary capacity for the National Trust, undertaking significant conservation works. Phyllis is also nationally respected for her expert knowledge on historical wallpaper design and restoration, on which she has published a number of works, and she has taught as a guest lecturer in our faculty. Phyllis was honoured by the Australian Institute of Architects with a Life Fellowship in 2009, and she's a role model for women architects, a role model for excellence in the practice of domestic architecture. Murphy for admission to the degree of Doctor of Architecture honoris causa.
Don was Director of Global Forests Program and South Pacific Programs with the World Wildlife Fund based in Washington, D.C. He has served as the CEO of World Wildlife Fund Australia and the Wildlife Preservation Society of Queensland. Don has received awards including the Prime Minister's Environmentalist of the Year in 2013 and Australian Not-for-Profit CEO of the Year from Equity Trustees. He is an international board member of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project. In 2014, Don joined the University of Melbourne as Public Policy Fellow for Environmentalism with the Melbourne Sustainable Societies Institute. In his work at the university, Don is drawing upon his extensive experience to write about collaborations across society to achieve change. His focus is on climate action and durable policy reform in the Asia-Pacific and wider regions. It is a great pleasure to introduce him as guest speaker this morning. Please join me in welcoming Professor Don Henry.
Deputy Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Dr. Phyllis Murphy, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Could I also acknowledge the traditional owners on whose land we're gathered here today. It's a great honour to be with you here on your special day. Firstly, a warm congratulations. Yours is a great achievement today, rightly celebrated with colleagues and family and friends here and from around the world. What you've learned about your topic and about yourself and the friendships you've made will stay with you for the rest of your life. Secondly, can I share with you a tale of 3 presidents? Here is one of America's youngest and most revered presidents. He said this, and this is just over 50 years ago. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important to the long-term exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish. That's President Kennedy, May 25, 1961. And less than 10 years later, in 1969, July 20, the Apollo 11 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edward Buzz Aldrin Jr., realised the President's dream. At 8:18 p.m. Eastern Time, US, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first 2 individuals to ever land on the moon. And 6 hours later, Armstrong became the first person to step onto the lunar surface, saying with that famous quote, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." I think we should take man to be man and women in those quotes. Let me fast forward just over 50 years to a little over 4 weeks ago. And here are 2 presidents, President Barack Obama from the United States, President Xi Jinping from China, in Beijing, announcing this: we are committed to reaching an ambitious 2015 agreement on climate change. The United States intends to achieve an economy-wide target of reducing its emissions by 26-28% below 2005 levels in 2025. China intends to achieve the peaking of CO2 emissions around 2030 and to make best efforts to peak early. Both sides intend to continue to work to increase ambition over time. This historic agreement was made on the 12th of November 2014 in Beijing. They acknowledged that they join with an effort to keep average global warming below 2 degrees, above which our scientists warn of many dangerous consequences. This will require the world to be carbon neutral sometime between 2050 and 2070. They also said economic evidence makes it increasingly clear that smart action on climate change now can drive innovation, strengthen economic growth and bring broad benefits from sustainable development to increased energy security, improved public health and better quality of life. Tackling climate change will also strengthen national and international security. This is our world, this is your world, this is the great call to action of our times. We can and will do this. Let me give you a very brief example from every continent. In London, the city has committed itself to reform public buildings and ensure they're energy efficient. They make up about 10% of London's total carbon footprint. In Barcelona, the city has launched a super blocks project, broader than just a precinct, where they're helping citizens reduce their ecological footprint and improving citizens' quality of life. Melbourne, this fair city whose bounds we're sitting in today, is committed to be carbon neutral by 2020. The university is and needs to be part of this effort. Rio de Janeiro is reforming its public transport systems. It's introducing 4 bus rapid transport lines opening in 2016, and it's going to increase the share of trips made by mass public transport from 18% to 63%. New York is driving a major program on energy efficiency. The Empire State Building alone consumes as much energy as 40,000 homes. A full energy retrofit is saving $4.4 million annually in energy costs, reducing 105,000 tonnes of greenhouse emissions over the next 15 years, which is the equivalent of taking 25,000 cars off the road. Addis Ababa in Ethiopia is implementing a green growth strategy that includes light rail, rapid bus transit and green buildings. And last week I was privileged to be at a meeting in Lima where, to a small group, the China Vice Minister responsible for negotiations for a new climate agreement announced that every city in China will need to meet the target that I mentioned before of peaking and cutting emissions at least by 2030, even as they grow and grow in their wealth. Cities on every continent are starting to play their part. Back to President Kennedy. When he made that announcement over 50 years ago that within a decade a person was going to land on the moon, at that time no one knew if it was feasible. They didn't know if they could do it. It was a very bold, ambitious target. I want to report a really interesting fact to you. When that target was realised less than a decade later, the average age of the systems engineers in mission control in Houston was 26. When they heard President Kennedy's ambitious call to action, they were only about 18. They put a person on the moon. They realised that great challenging goal of their time. President Obama and President Xi Jinping have given us the great challenge of our times. As you plan, design, build, shape and realise this future, take pleasure and drive from the role you will play at the forefront of meeting the grand challenge of sustainability. What a challenge and what an opportunity. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
We'll now receive the candidates for admission to Bachelor Degrees. I call again on the Dean and on Associate Professor Claire Newton.
Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Environments. Dunya Ahmed. Onello Romina Artibelli. Li Ai Am. Sui Ki Am. Stephanie Mary Antonopoulos. Monica Ayananda. Christina Carolina Aspura. Amy Elizabeth Banks. Simon James Baring. Jay Barnes. Andrew Lawrence Bell. Grace Wanda Bell. Joshua Benjamin. Bran Thomas Blakely. Adam Joseph Bregu. Tyler Robert Frenchley. Tamara Nicole Broadsmith. Sally Mae Butler. Please join me in Gabriel Claire Carrasco. Young Kion Chair. Priska Celia Chandra. Dai Lee Chern. Helen Chern. Kevin Yi Jo Chern. Matthew Howe Chern. Min Chern. Room Chern. Ying Chern.
congratulating these new graduates. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Environments. Votes. Trent Anthony Coleman. Hamish Peter Collins. Thomas Mitchell Cornelius. Marita Margaret Doak. Rebecca Elizabeth Downs. Mitchell James Downey. Diane Mashita Eddie Suriono. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Environments. Callum Anthony Fote. William James Forrest. Alice Puri. Mitran M. Kiandi. Hugh Kim. Nicholas Michael Lane. Victor Goshen Law. Declan Anthony. Liza Lee. Nigel Lee. Yu Lee. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Julio. Turn Wei Liu. Tien Yao Liu. Xin Yu Liu. William Edward Logan. Jonathan Shu Kai Long. Aaron James Lagoon. Xiao Duin Lo. Eunice Man Chung Lu.
Matheson. Mato Makovic. Robert Henry Dougal. Claire Whitley McKellar. Jasmina Fiona McKenna. Christian James McKinley. Celia Juan Nguyen. Tan Trong Nguyen. James Gregory Sanford. Alicia Marie Santamartino. Alice Mary Schenk Green. Emma Jane Schreiber. Xiu Hui Wong. Wei Kan Wong. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Han Yang. Jenny Hyun Yao. Kuei Yao. Yi Wen Yin. Elaine Yining Yong. Tiffany Eugenie Youssef. Chenshi Yu. Shihan Yu. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates. The Chancellor presents you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Environments and Diploma in Languages. Victoria Lupe Stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Cassette Quartet for their delightful performance. I now invite the Dean once again to deliver the Dean's Address. Deputy Chancellor, graduates and graduands, families and friends, and my colleagues. At this midpoint, I have the pleasure of extending my congratulations to those who have graduated and those who are about to. I add my deep appreciation to my colleagues, also here at the ceremony, who contributed to your successes and those who are absent today. Graduations are very special events. They signify achievement and mark the beginning of your future careers. To get this far, every one of you has demonstrated a deep commitment to learning. The high international ranking that the University of Melbourne has attained not only reflects our research and teaching excellence, but it also reflects the quality of our graduates, and you should be proud to count yourselves among them. If I can borrow and adapt a quote attributed to Winston Churchill, but for these are significant. Whatever you do, though, make your choices with awareness. No matter what community you go to from here, I suggest that your careers will take you to places and situations where the status quo, just doing the same thing as you have done, will not serve the community well. You will at some point find yourself having to speak up, make hard choices, and provide tough advice. I encourage you to step up and to do this, as we need well-educated and informed leaders. Each person graduating here today has a unique capacity to make changes to our world. The contribution you can make is
Director of the Melbourne School of Design.
Deputy Chancellor, Sung Chiang, Wei Chiang, Choi Si Chong, Alison Joyce Coy, please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Master of Architecture. Matthew Thomas Ternier. Michael Andrew Gordon Duncan. Emily Catherine Flint. Sophia Gabrielle. William Donald Hallett. Kristen Vindelhammer. Evelyn Hartojo. Thomas David Arkin. Ahmad Sifu Ritsun Hassi. Sin Wang Hao. Jonathan Peter House. Andrew Peter Kurzowski. Bo Luke Ho. Wenjong Ho. Nadira Shahon. Desong Jean. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Master of Architecture. Kurt Jury. Xin Wang.
Jian Wang. Ying Shui Zhang. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degrees of Master of Architecture and Bachelor of Property and Construction. Oliver Jonathan Shimen Shen Xingyang. Annika Brieffield. Catherine Jane Fink. Panagiotis Polakifas. Petar Petrov. Natasha Yuganovska. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you this candidate for admission to the degree of Master of Architecture, Zhizhen Shen.
Hing Hua Cha, who completed a study of the Hing Hua Cha. Housing, social and spiritual recoveries of households in religious communities. Ted Yushen Chen. Andrea Cook, who examined the relationship between children's independent mobility and their active citizenship in Australian cities. Her work led to the development of a new model for engaging young citizens in city building, which will have wide application to urban planning practice in Australia and internationally. Andrea Cook. Jennifer Jane Mitchell-Hill, who investigated the influence of traditional Japanese architecture on post-World War II houses in the Pan-Pacific. She found the use of a cultural source in design to be problematic. The study highlights the necessity of analysing political, philanthropic and professional contexts in architecture together with information dissemination, reception and design interpretation. Jennifer Jane Mitchell-Hill. Wen Chong Poon, who studied the health of caregivers of people with psychosis. He found that carers' physical health deteriorated over time and that their well-being was influenced by the functioning ability of their relatives with psychosis. His study has important implications for services to people with psychosis and their caregivers. Wen Chong Poon.
Cara Headcraft, who has kindly agreed to deliver this morning's valedictory speech.
Deputy Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ms. Cara Headcraft. Cara enrolled in the Bachelor of Environment in 2010, and whilst maintaining her excellent academic results, showed herself to be an active and engaged university citizen. She was a valuable student representative on the course standing committee in 2011 and 12, and she was also an energetic member of the Bachelor Environment Student Club, ENVY. And in 2013, Cara was elected Melbourne University Student Union President. Cara graduates with a Bachelor in Environments today with a major in Urban Design and Planning. Please join me in welcoming Cara to present the valedictory speech on behalf of the new graduates here today.
Thank you. Deputy Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellors, members of the university, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Each of us here today has our own unique story. For some of you, you may be the first person in your family to have graduated from university. Others have faced struggles of illness, mental health, disability, or have taken time out from their studies to care for children or others. Despite all these struggles, we all sit here today as graduates and as equals, ready to carve out another stage in our lives. Whether you've completed your bachelor's, master's, or PhD today, this is an immense achievement, and congratulations. As part of celebrating, we must acknowledge and thank those who helped us along our way. Thank you to all of the wonderful academic staff who have nurtured our curiosity and cultivated our sharp and critical minds. We all have tutors and lecturers who we will remember for being the ones that piqued our interest in a subject and who spurred us onwards. We truly value your tireless support, your passion for teaching, and their faith that we may have for once done all the readings this week. Thank you to our family and friends, those who encouraged us and supported us on our journey, when juggling study, work and sleep seemed difficult, and who put up with dirty dishes, bad moods, and diets of jelly babies as we work towards one final submission deadline. I would also like to today reflect on the university's motto, which has stood over us as we've studied. Postera crescam laude, or may I grow in the esteem of future generations. It may mean different things to different people, but for me it's about leaving a positive, lasting legacy. Today I would like to acknowledge the legacy and the great gift of accessible tertiary education that earlier generations bestowed upon us. I have two university-educated parents, and thanks to the Whitlam government, and because of them and the values that they instilled in me from a young age, I never had a doubt growing up that I would one day be able to graduate from a university of my choosing. Education has changed the trajectory of my family and many of yours. The opportunities that we have all been given here, the opportunity to learn, to seek questions, to seek meaningful employment, were given to us because there were people that came before us who believed that what's in a person's brain should be more valued than what's in their wallet. Those people saw the value in investing in a more educated society by opening up tertiary education to people of all backgrounds for the first time. I encourage you all to reflect on this legacy, and also reflect on the kind of legacy that you want to leave to future generations. For me, I would like to leave the legacy of the same unfettered access to education that I had to my children, because with that great gift, they will be able to achieve anything. As we sit here today, debate rages on around us of the future of higher education in this country. Do not think for a moment that we as graduates are now exempt from such debates. We have the duty to support policies that will allow university education to be financially affordable for generations to come, and not policies that will burden students with lifetimes of debt just for seeking the same opportunities that we have had over the past couple of years. So please, I encourage you all to support a society that values tertiary education and that leaves the doors of this university wide open. Thank you.
This concludes the proceedings of the degree conferring ceremony, and on behalf of the University and the Faculty of Architecture, Building and Planning, I have much pleasure in inviting you to join us in celebration on the gallery level upstairs in this building.
Coming from a dairy farm in South Gippsland, certainly had no lifelong ambition to become a clinical veterinarian, though it seemed like an interesting kind of career choice, and if asked, I usually said that's where I thought I would end up. As a relatively immature 22-year-old at my own graduation, and though embracing something of a dubious social career choice at the time, I reasoned that entering the field of pathology would enable me to retain and grow the broadest scope of my scientific learnings in my Bachelor of Veterinary Science degree. I could also remain around several of my most inspiring mentors for a few years longer at the campus in Werribee. That small initial step led to opportunities to study at Cornell University in New York State, and later in the field of immunology and inflammatory disease at the Universities of Bern, Zurich, the ETH in Switzerland for 5 years, ultimately returning to the US. This time included some studies with Rolf Zinkernagel, the 1994 Nobel laureate in medicine, who received this honour for work done in his own postdoc years with the Australian Peter Doherty in Australia. Entering the pharmaceutical industry in 1994, I found my broad University of Melbourne education, my intellectual curiosity, and the highly related fields of human medicine, pharmacology, and drug discovery to veterinary medicine positioned me ideally to become a drug hunter. In our parlance, that is the individual able to integrate findings from many disciplines, from medicine and pathology through to pharmaceutics and medicinal chemistry, and see a clear path forward to advancing drug candidates in a highly complex field. Your own successful integration of the science of multiple disciplines as agricultural scientists and veterinarians from scientific fields of study as diverse as agronomy and biostatistics through to physical chemistry and surgery will also be the key to your success. Now, after more than 30 years post-graduation, I look back. I look at you all now, each with your own unique careers ahead of you, and know this is where it all began. I currently lead just over 800 research scientists covering many disciplines at Bristol Myers Squibb, but most excitedly, I'm part of a team working on drugs with the potential to cure patients of diagnoses that were once death sentences, as recently as 2 or 3 years ago. In recent weeks, I was able to help a 1983 graduating class colleague of mine from the VSc degree who'd been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic melanoma. I helped him enter a trial with now a likely greater than 50% 5-year cure rate for a disease that was once a death sentence. He was actually only given 3 months to live at the diagnosis. At his diagnosis, it left untreated, but the new medicines we have available now to us promise a real chance of cure. Of course, my own path is by definition unique, and may or may not be relevant to any of you. It is, however, a powerful metaphor for what the education provided to you underpins in terms of each of your own potential for your life's work. Without doubt, those in graduating class who work as veterinary practitioners and in my graduating class, who work as veterinary practitioners, who are in pharmaceuticals R&D, who are professors in anatomy at the University of Glasgow, who run cancer vaccine companies in Melbourne, who head human resources firms in Melbourne, or who have become primary caregivers for their families, draw on this, their University of Melbourne education, to be the very best they can be in their final chosen fields. On a final note, and this is me being really authentic, you're all driven professionals. In your desire to succeed, please don't neglect your own health and actively manage your own stress levels. Now is a good time to draw a line in the sand on the crazy hours that you've put in to pass final exams and many years of rigorous study during which you've often put your end game ahead of yourself. So, keep running, swimming, walking, do yoga, Pilates, exercise classes, meditate, eat and drink in moderation, keep moving every day. Please just stay mentally and physically as fit as you can. Embrace your education, be flexible where you wind up, and don't be in too great a hurry. The world is literally your oyster at this very second. Please savor it a little. I envy you all. Thank you very much.
On your behalf, ladies and gentlemen, I thank Dr. Carr for addressing us this morning. I will now receive the candidates for admission to Bachelor Degrees. I call again on Professor Hinchcliffe.
Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Agriculture. Rebecca Jane Grace Banks Ward. Ian Douglas Blair. Eloise Claire Kulik. Claudia Jane Gaybert. Michelle Emma Grixby. Sarah Carlin Jones. Gregor James Knight. Serping Lee. Tien Yao Lee. Sabina Maramingo. Darlene Louise McWaters. Nicholas James Minogue. Natasha Montgomery Reba. David William E. Swain. Hayley Ann Simmons. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you this candidate for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Agriculture, degree with honours, Michael Stanley Allen Curtis. Deputy Chancellor, I present you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Veterinary Science, Neil Robert Borg. Felix John Denatris. Chun Ngui Swakaso. Ki Wong Son. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you this candidate for admission to the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Rachel Judith Gordon. Deputy Chancellor, I present you these candidates for admission to the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, Catherine Jane Adrians. Sarjun Lee Agarwal. Emma Teresa Alfonso. Suzanne Lauren Hooker. Harris Leslie Bubis. Nancy Brito. Elizabeth Therese Berger. Leighton Michael Berger. Tammy Chan. Suki Y. Man Chern. Natasha Alice Claire Cocker. Amy Rose Denise Dixon. Tali Caitlin Foster. Catherine Leanne Fowler. Cara Marie Frost.
Go Cara!
Nicole Emma Galinas. Malina Filau Gilner. Amelia Danae Andrea Hanos. Jenna Drew Hansen. Genevieve Elizabeth Heffernan. Mark Hill. Matthew Robert Hislop. Sir Jan Florence Ho. Kez Holiday. Jared Robert Hollis. Sin Tung Hui. Nicola Hendrika Kennedy. Fiona Knox. Rachel Kate Llewellyn. Adabel Lowe. Hannah Christina Lobb. Gina Soon. Alina Sovnovsky. Natalie Diana Annabelle Suchuvarsky. Jessica Ainsley Soon. Brittany Sykes. Lindsay Jane Tognetti. Megan Jessica Tucker. Vicky Wade. Vivian Luwei Wang. Sheena Minoli Wixima Singher. Jan Anchi Wong. Thomas David Chisholm Woods. Amanda Suan Yu Yoon. Cherie Zirafri.
It's now my pleasure to introduce performers from the faculty of the Victorian College of the Arts and the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. Would you please join me in welcoming the Tasset Quartet to the stage.
congratulations to all new graduates and graduates who have just or are about to receive their degrees. I add my deep appreciation also to the colleagues behind me who have contributed to your achievements. Graduations are special events, and this one is especially significant for the Faculty of Veterinary and Agricultural Sciences. This ceremony is the first at which graduates of almost all degrees of the new Faculty of Veterinary and Agricultural Sciences share the stage. It is symbolic of the importance of an education in agricultural and veterinary sciences in providing graduates with the capability, with an education in agricultural and veterinary sciences and the capability to address the very pressing problems of improving human and animal health through production of food and fibre in a sustainable manner and ensuring the health and well-being of domestic and wild animals. And we are at a critical point in time as Australia considers how best to contribute to increasing food production while using no more land and the same or less water in a warming world. The challenges of developing sustainable and environmentally sensitive animal and plant production systems are many. The new faculty, with expertise in soil and crop science, food science, animal science, agribusiness, production animal medicine, and the veterinary sciences, is well equipped to contribute through its research and education programs to developing meaningful and practical solutions to these pressing problems. We also welcome the opportunities to contribute to the health and well-being of animals through provision of world-class veterinary care at our veterinary hospital and clinics and through our research and education of veterinarians. Today's graduates and graduates have received a world-class education in one or more of the degrees offered by the faculty, and as such are equipped to contribute to the betterment of society. Graduates and graduates, your education enables you to do so, but also obliges you to do so, as we've heard from the Deputy Chancellor. Depending on your degree, you can contribute to treating individual animals, ensuring the health of flocks or herds, as advisors to farmers or agribusinesses, or through using the basic sciences to discover innovative solutions to pressing problems. And you will contribute to public discourse and the shaping of policy at local, state, national and international levels. And for those of you who have extended your knowledge through master's and postdoctoral and doctoral studies in agricultural or veterinary science, you have demonstrated your commitment to ensuring our future and equipped yourselves with specialist skills to lead change in these important areas. Today marks the graduation of the first class of the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree at the University of Melbourne. This is the first class of the first DVM in Australia, and the University is proud of your achievement. You, the first graduates of this degree, have been pioneering partners with the faculty in the development of this program, and we fully anticipate that you will continue to be pioneers, trailblazers, innovators, and leaders in the veterinary profession. Congratulations. You have demonstrated, all of you, by attainment of your degree or degrees today, your commitment to the future and to making a difference in our society. Each of you can do so in your own particular way, but it will require a continued passion for your profession and a dedication to pursuing the important issues. Your degree is the basis for a wonderful, rewarding future. It is now up to you to have the vision for how you will contribute to society. And as you go forth into this incredibly promising future, I remind you of the words of Garrison Keillor, an American author, who said that we should be well, do good work, and stay in touch. I wish you good health, admonish you to do good work and to do work that matters, and we ask that you stay in touch with your alma mater. Thank you. Admission to the degree of Master of Agribusiness. Imran Ahmad. Maria Alejandra Calderon Contreras. Maisal Nazir Popad. Deputy Chancellor, I present you these candidates for admission to the degree of Master of Agricultural Science. P.H. Dayani Pradipika Karuna Nasta. Mixun Lucky Dunn. Catherine Sakala. Megan Skarayev. Udani Anusika Wajay Siri Wan Dharma. Deputy Chancellor, I present you this candidate for admission to the degree of Master of Veterinary Science, Linda Margaret Beer. Deputy Chancellor, I present you these candidates for admission to the degree of Master of Wine Technology and Viticulture, Richard John Wallace Doan. Maria Petrov. Ronald Lance Robertson.
Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Bronwyn Ann Clayton. Who investigated differences in transmissibility of Nipah viruses from Malaysia and Bangladesh. She compared features of infection and shedding using ferrets as a surrogate for human disease. Can be minimised with good management practices. Joanne Elizabeth Coombe. Gemma Cripps, who examined the impacts of the tens of thousands of parasitic worms typically living in the stomachs of kangaroos. Her field experiments revealed negative effects on blood protein levels in susceptible juvenile kangaroos, but no evident impacts on adult kangaroos. Hashani Irandi Ebawadena Haba Degi to maintain their desired daily resting time. Anoma Dirakshi Heti Arakshijie. Sung Yu Hung, who investigated whether dietary chromosomes Leah Morenos, who investigated optimal methods for extracting microRNA from challenging archival bone marrow samples of children with acute myeloid leukemia. She characterised the extent of microRNA, how protein expression causes disease, and how new vaccines can be developed to control these pathogens. Indu Samasundara.
AIMR. With AIMR, Vinay aims to build a marine rescue rehabilitation and research centre. Dr. Vinay Dove. For the DC Blood Hospital and online problem-based clinical scenarios. He also is a lead investigator in an international project to determine if computer-based learning can improve the experience for students undertaking extramural placements. As well as his clinical and teaching load in the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine Year 4, he contributes to the communication skills development across the whole Doctor of Veterinary Medicine curriculum, supervising clinical residents in training and coordinates
I call once more on the Dean to introduce Dr. Matthew Munro, who has kindly agreed to deliver this morning's Valedictory Address.
Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Matthew Munro was first enrolled at the University of Melbourne in 2008 in the Bachelor of Science under the new Melbourne model. He completed his degree in 2010, having undertaken a zoology major in reproductive physiology. During his final year, he completed a semester abroad, studying at Berlin's Humboldt University. Over the course of his undergraduate degree, he was a Kwong Li Dao Young Scholar, listed on the Dean's Honour List in 2009 and 2010, and was awarded the E.F. Miller Ducks Secondary Year Botany and Georgina Sweet Ducks Second Year Zoology exhibitions in 2009. Following completion of his bachelor course, he made a successful application to the University's Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program and commenced studies in 2011. During his studies, he has developed a particular interest in small animal internal medicine. He has been listed on the Dean's Honours List in 2012 and 2013, and he was also awarded 2 final year prizes in small animal medicine, the Dr. Richard James Gannon Scholarship and the Mags Johnson UC Davis Travel Bursary. In addition to his academic pursuits, Matt has been a keen contributor to campus life as president of the Student Society in both preclinical and clinical years, and as the student representative for the Australian Veterinary Association. Matt hopes to obtain placement in a small animal rotating internship program in North America for 2015. Please welcome Dr. Matthew Munro to the lecture.
Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I will also take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are present today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders, both past and present. It is with great honour and nerves that I deliver the valedictory speech today as we celebrate the significant milestone of our graduation. For many, today marks not simply the official conclusion of an academic degree, but the realisation of a long-held dream. I was very honoured to accept the offer to be valedictorian today, and I quickly realised that I was going to have to make a speech in front of a large number of people. So I went to YouTube in order to find some encouragement and some advice, and all I found was videos of people falling over as they tried to take the stage. So quickly abandoned that and decided that a good speech is made up of a good introduction and an excellent conclusion that are very close together. And I've gone for that approach. For all of us today, who we graduating from the Bachelor of Agriculture, DVM, or the BBSc, in reaching today we have overcome a significant number of obstacles. Whilst these include a large number of years at university and a significant number of assessments, unique challenges have also been presented simply due to the nature of completing a postgraduate course. Life's distractions become quite noisy when you have to consider a spouse, children, financial constraints, mortgages, and loss of loved ones. So it was with overwhelming pride that I congratulate the graduating class of 2014. For some, life's obstacles have delayed their progress, and we also think of those people today. While we are still reeling from the fact that we never received our letter from Hogwarts, we have all been exceedingly privileged to have studied at the University of Melbourne. The university has embraced innovation in adopting the Melbourne curriculum, and the redevelopment of the veterinary science course has created an internationally esteemed postgraduate degree. The Bachelor of Agriculture continues to see increases in enrolments, and there are diverse and promising careers ahead for all the graduates today. The staff of the university's Faculty of Veterinary and Agricultural Science cannot be thanked enough. All didactic components of the course have been world-class, but the role of the academic staff has transcended this. They have provided encouragement, support, advice and guidance, ultimately treating us as colleagues and friends. Thank you must also to extend to all administrative staff in the veterinary faculty and the former MSLE who have provided essential support to all of us over our years. The biggest support has undeniably come from friends, family and partners. Our families have been our sounding boards, counsellors, punching bags, financiers, landlords and removalists, amongst many other things. They cannot be thanked enough. And I know Mum and Dad will be very relieved that they never have to endure another setback. I would also be nowhere without the love and support of my good friends. A quick scan of news headlines reminds us of the bigger picture and how fortunate we are to be seated here today. However, I also think it serves to put into perspective what we have studied and what we can aim to achieve. From an agricultural background, graduates can work towards innovative food security solutions in a resource-constrained environment. Veterinarians can improve animal welfare, mitigate against disease outbreaks, and at the fundamental level of the profession, facilitate the human-animal bond. We can aim to make it. I conclude by once again congratulating the class of 2014. For the veterinary students, we were told on the very first day the people around us would become our closest friends. This could not be more true. We have become a close-knit and, more importantly, successful cohort. Bring on the next chapter. I leave you with the words of Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do by the ones that you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Thank you.
sense of how far we've come in 5 years together. I sort of was there on graduation day, remembering our first day, meeting each other for the first time, all the experiences we've been through as quite a small course.
Yeah, absolutely. Like these are people that you meet every day, that you live with, and they become really good friends that you have to this day.
And even husbands and wives. The University of Melbourne Alumni Council is essentially the voice of the alumni community, and it informs the current day policy and engagement with former and current students of the university.
Being a University of Melbourne alum means you're immediately part of the community. Even if you've studied at that campus at a completely different time to someone else, you have a link to someone.
People have been able to help you, put you in touch with certain people, or if you ever needed something, you can just call someone, and even if they can't help, they'll know someone that can help. It's actually a very strong alumni network.
For international students, staying connected will actually give a chance for them to explore into different opportunities, even when they left Melbourne and when they're back to their home countries.
When I meet former students, as I have been lately in the hospital, I like to chat to them, and there's a fellow feeling between I'm from Melbourne and they're from Melbourne, and you can talk about your experiences.
Yeah, today I'm most connected to the university through my college. I lived there, made it my home for 3 years, and so yeah, it's good to go back and see the way it's developed, like new wings. I've got a pool table now, so that's exciting.
I really like actually engaging with current students, and if anyone has ever said I'm interested in banking or working at Telstra, I'm happy to help, and I think that you don't necessarily get that kind of access sometimes when you're at uni.
By being part of the alumni community, I think this is one way that I can give back to the uni, because this is what they have shaped me into, and without University of Melbourne, I wouldn't be myself today.
Being part of the alumni community means you can access career services,
attend exclusive events and webinars,
become a member of the graduate union.
And University House, I've been there, it's pretty schmick.
Access e-journals from anywhere in the world.
Access events and exhibitions at the NGV, MTC, the best one, and the Melbourne Museum. So keep in touch, because you've got a wonderful community in terms of the University of Melbourne alumni, and you never know when that community will come in handy for you.
students and those receiving doctoral degrees, families and friends. I begin in our customary way with an acknowledgement of the Wurundjeri people, the traditional owners of the land on which this ceremony will take place. For all of you about to graduate with undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, a significant life step has been achieved with, I am sure, great application of time and mind. To all of you who have supported one of the graduates, whether as a parent or relative, a partner or friend, I thank you on behalf of the university and invite you to see the ceremony as an acknowledgement of all of your efforts. The ceremony of graduation is a ritual of long standing, recognising the high value placed on the acquisition of knowledge in a free and inquiring environment. That said, contemporary times are marked by the fact that the body of knowledge, which is the subject of research and teaching, is always expanding. The composition of the student body seeking knowledge has also expanded considerably in recent times. The number of Indigenous students has grown. So has the number of students from nations other than Australia, with more than 100 different nations represented in our overall student body. We welcome these and many other positive changes. At Melbourne, we especially welcome the change from being a largely undergraduate university through most of our history to being a university with an equal emphasis on postgraduate education today. Consequently, today's Melbourne graduates are a truly global population, professional and outward-looking people who will contribute to communities everywhere. Melbourne's graduates are also high achievers, inspired by the pursuit of excellence. For example, in 2015, 3 winners of the Rhodes Scholarship to the University of Oxford will be recent Melbourne scholars. So in being recognised today as graduates of the University of Melbourne, you therefore join a rich and diverse community of high-achieving alumni, living and contributing in a wide range of areas and locations all over the globe. These are alumni who continue to uphold our core values. Values which encourage academic freedom, values of encouraging intellectual discourse, and the value of transferring and sharing your knowledge with others. For some of you, this ceremony coincides with the beginning of your professional lives. For others, it is the progression of an already established career. Whatever your situation, I emphasise that with graduation comes a responsibility. A responsibility to use your learning to make your positive and personal contribution to our world. A responsibility which involves the understanding of many different values, communities and environments which are very different from our own. It is a responsibility to challenge expectations and to view traditional ways of doing with a critical eye. A responsibility to keep forever learning. So take the excitement of learning that I hope you have experienced at this university into your own world of doing. May I offer my congratulations and sincere best wishes to each and every one of you who are graduating today. I call on the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Education and Innovation.
And over 4 decades has worked for a range of corporations, including Goldman Sachs & Co. and the Deutsche Bank Group. In sports administration, Rolf has been the President of Athletics New South Wales, a Director of Athletics Australia, and Executive Director of the New South Wales Institute of Sport. What an outstanding career and what outstanding contributions. It's a great delight to welcome back as our guest speaker today, Ralph DeVal. Please join me in welcoming him.
Good morning, and congratulations on graduating with your degree today. As Professor James mentioned, I also graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree many, many years ago. Although I've never been convinced that I made the right decision in undertaking the degree, I think my main motivation was that my Year 9 science teacher stood me up in the middle of the class and said, "Jubel, you got 14 out of 90 for this exam. It's the worst result I've ever seen." I was embarrassed. I think I was close to tears, but under my breath I said to myself, "I will show you, Mr. K, that you are wrong." About the only way I could think of doing that was to go and graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree. I did that, and I never saw that teacher again, either after starting university or after graduation. So did I waste my time in undertaking the degree? No, I think I learned a heck of a lot of things about myself and how to overcome the challenge of initially making a really bad decision, and more importantly, how did I accept the challenge of fixing the mess that I had created. This morning, I'd like to talk about challenges like this and how to understand the challenge and overcome it in a constructive and sensible way. Many challenges are often quite simple to overcome. You sometimes just need to understand the rationale for a formula or cram a little more for an exam. The challenges I want to talk about are a little more complex and require input from many different sources. Let me describe how I approached the challenge of winning an Olympic gold medal at the age of 23, after only coming third or fourth in the triple jump in C-grade house sports in Melbourne High School at the age of 14. So we've got 9 years to cover. It won't take long. First of all, you need some talent. Pretty obvious, but that did not seem to be in great supply at the time. But I was convinced that I was a good athlete. And I was also very good at hiding it. I knew it was there somewhere. I may also be capable of outstanding scientific insight. I'm still waiting for the light of thunder of light to come through. The second attribute you need to become an Olympic athlete is drive. Or to put it another way, are you willing to stand up and accept a major challenge? My experience with my science teacher clearly showed that I was obstinate and willing to accept and undertake unrealistic challenges. The third attribute for this Olympic journey is physical facilities. Fortunately for athletics, that is not much. A running track and some spikes is probably enough. By the end of year 12, I'd improved my performance levels to the stage that I was competing in the combined schools championship and managed to win both the 400 metres and 800 metres. Many people, including myself, were surprised at this, as I'd never won a school championship, but somehow during that year, some hormones crept in my body, naturally rather than from a black bottle with a red stripe on it. So at that stage, I thought I had talent, drive, facilities, and puberty in my favour. What next? Well, a coach would be helpful. At Melbourne High, there was a teacher who had been a finalist in the 1956 Olympic event held here in Melbourne. I only had to do a bit more to win. The Australian team competed in the Commonwealth Games in Kingston, Jamaica, where I ran quite poorly. The tonsils infection picked up in Los Angeles caused that problem. Upon returning to Melbourne University, you could see Stanley and myself training 6 times a week on the track in addition to early morning runs at the local golf course. The next major competition was in Tokyo for the World University Games. You can also see that I was meeting my objective of free travel around the world. I managed to win in Tokyo and beat the European 800 metre title holder. So I was also beginning to better understand the elements of winning under pressure. The 1968 Olympics were about 12 months ahead. I had just graduated with my Bachelor of Science degree and began full-time employment at the Shell Company in Australia. Not as a chemist or engineer or geologist, but as a personnel officer. I had mates in psychology and zoology. By now, I could believe that I had talent, I had drive, I had the facilities, I had motivation, and I had a great coach. I also had a very good training partner. I was beginning to understand how to win under pressure. I also had to be selected for the Olympics team after running in qualifying time. This was finally achieved late in the season when we began to concentrate on the Olympics. I was working full-time at Shell, and then after work I would head to the university track, pound round it 30 to 40 times at varying speeds and intensity. Due to the volume and intensity of training, I became injured and was receiving treatment 3 times a day, but that did not stop the training. We arrived in Mexico about 4 weeks before the games to try and adapt to the 2,400 metre. I heard my response and simply said I should go out and win my next 3 races. Now those 3 races happened to be the heat, the semi-final and final of the Olympics. Fans always decide to keep things simple. When I reflected on that comment, it demonstrated a number of critical insights. Firstly, in the Olympic final, I decided to start very, very slowly. I was so slow that after 100 metres, I was about 25 metres behind the leader. But I knew what I wanted to do, and by the end of the first lap, I was exactly where I wanted to be, about 4th or 5th on the outside of the field, but in touch with the leader. The favourite kept up with the pace in front, while the 2nd and 3rd placed runners began to slow. An East German moved to 2nd, and I went with him. We then had about 300 metres to run, and at that stage I was thinking on how I planned to win the race. The plan was exactly the same as it had been the day beforehand when I'd beaten the favourite, and that was to kick in the final 100 metres. Achievable. The field of science will always give you that challenge. Secondly, break the challenge down to component parts and understand how you can address each one of those issues. Use others to help you. Always go to the best in the field for that advice. Thirdly, be willing to accept the pressure of trying to be the best in your field.
Tom Abriel, Tali Adin, Samuel David Aldous, Kara Al-Ghazali, Lauren Janine Ali, Ben Clifford Allison, Laith Al-Mokhtar, Sonal Danith Amarasini, Nicholas Lazaris Agnostou, Sylvia Celestine Andrew, Mick Ye An, Lorenza Ankasa, Manasa Antachu, Matthew John Anthony, Natasha Arolanada, Rebecca Lynette Ashton, Lucas William Baresi, Stephanie Grace Berry, Georgina Lillian Bing, Samantha Renee Blackley, Pearlie Puyer-Bois, Stuart Boget, Sarah Josephine Boland, Laura Jessie Buckland. Zoe Tatiana Kalalui-Ray-Bar. Olivia Wanyin Chi-Yang. Sandra Yi Cheng-Che. Timothy Crow. Rachel Ann Colviner. Michael Patrick Curry. Please join Tan Tao Dong. Rosa Scarth Dyson. Rachel Nicole Ellis. Lauren Marie Englefield. Nicola Louise Fleming. Olivia Fleming. Stephanie Gamar Lada Lagay. Jura Singan. Samantha Eleni Garrick. Rabia Hassa Genser. Mohammed Fakur Razi Ghazali. Timothy Andrew Glennon.
Of Bachelor of Science. Timothy John Kenyon Smith. Vincent Carr. Nicholas James King. Tani Skye Kirkpatrick. Thomas Philip Kit Thompson. Taylor Marie Constan. Rebecca Stephanie Kotsakidis. Rami Kozman. Hui Ming Lee. Roger Lee. Ya Jung Lee. Yung Lei Lee. Zhe Lee. Marianne Patricia Liao. Ro Yi Lim. Yi Wei Lim. Yan Wen Loy. Robert Liu. William Harrison Love. Yu Ying Luo. Yenny Liu. Michael James George McGoughlin. William McAloney. Zachary James McCaffrey. Stephanie Kate McCarthy. Sarah Kate McCluskey. Melissa Ann Nauchi. Sophia Nim Singh. Lut Ye Mei Jun
it is also a world of opportunity. There have been spectacular advances in understanding the science of life and in medical technology. The convergence of the life sciences with the physical sciences and engineering offers the promise of rapid progress in curing disease. Influential. You will make decisions that have the potential to affect the well-being of everyone. I do hope some of you end up in these positions, as we need decision makers who are scientifically educated. But jobs in every field call for people who are analytical, creative, curious and critical thinkers, who are able to make connections. And you have a unique role to play because of the education you've received in the sciences and the rational thinking that this education has instilled in you. The knowledge behind the success. Congratulations.
I present to you these candidates for admission into the degree of Bachelor of Science. Tony Tien Truk Tan Nguyen, Han Tao Tan Nguyen, Carlina Paya, Nicholas John Papaleo, Timothy George Papas, Michael Vito Papa, Dimitri Petridis, Peter Petros, Lachlan Gilmore Russell, Patrick Francis Ryan, Sophie Salibi, Simona Ilyanova Zelenska, Salem Seven, Nicola Kate Sexton Oates. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Rosie Susanna Strasser, Mark Ryan Stringer, Mitchell Declan Strumer, Vasilios Stylianopoulos, Noor Siazwani Suleiman, Matthew Thomas Sullivan, Terence Sun, Yeshuan Matthewson, Naveen Joshua Sundram, Memory Gail Talla, Tashdeed Tamad, Matthew King Untan, Pak Yin Bridget Tan, Rose Tancock, Tien Tan,
Deputy Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Science. Linus Xu Ling Tio, T. Nguyen Tam, Tiffany Catherine Teoharidis, Olivia Louise Iris, William Concresito Tio, Shinju Chung, Michael William Tradio, Megan Tran, Natasha Tuong, Rukiye Unal, Lorna Morgan Bundy, Bree Ellen, He Yi, Michael John Andrew Young, Sarah Claire, William Xu Zhong, Xia Wei Yun, Chi Hong, please join me in congratulating these new graduates. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Science. Robert Jeffrey Frampton, Brooke Deanne Hunt. Stephanie Gabriel Henderson. Lachlan Hugh Hodgkiss. Runa Sigrid Johanna Lindblom. Oliver Creighton Looker. Raymond Gardner Luke. Kevin Trone. Philip Vassili. Hishana Armuntarake Vitnage. Elise Courtney Joan Varlock. Natalie Kate Ward. Hayley Ann Warren. Matthew Francis Waters. Please join me in congratulating this new graduate. Chancellor, I present
Ritika Kataria. Christopher Hearn Law. Zen Liu. Siton May. Jessica Wing Sin Chang. John Dolianitis. Neha Benedicto Fernandez. Raghav Gorodia. Waheda Hasbullah. Adam Kalamavrakis. Wang Im Hector Lau. Charlie Ma. Axel Newton. Shali Aja Patel. Natalia Anna Petrin. Javier Lopez. Semiha Yuar. Sandeep Valaruri. Yernli Anshu. Shen Yin. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates for admission to the degree of Master of Science.
Who used advanced spectroscopy to show that the grinding mechanism affects the absorption of leached gold onto fine silicate materials. The interaction between gold complexes and silicate clusters was modeled for the first time using quantum mechanics. This work will lead to improved design and operation of gold extraction circuits. Seema Mohammed Nijad. Brendan Craig Mulcairn, who developed and implemented new theoretical methods for the study of very cold quantum gases. He found that the properties of large, strongly interacting, rotating quantum gases are universal. This research enables the exact calculation of the properties of very small quantum gases. Brendan Craig Mulcairn. He used field studies and genetic evidence to understand evolutionary relationships, demonstrate a complex migration history, identify new species, produce a revised classification system, and inform conservation management. Daniel James Olson. Kirsten. Megan James.
Pro-Vice-Chancellors, members of the University, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a tremendous honor to be given this opportunity to speak on behalf of students whose milestone accomplishments we're celebrating today. When I grew up in China, I could never imagine this moment. Standing here, 10,000 kilometers away from home, and able to celebrate the culmination of 3 marvelous years of overseas study. Neither did I have a clear idea of what to do with my future. All I could wish for was simply to dream large before I was too old to do so. You see, it was a rather daunting and a spontaneous decision for me to leave everything behind, travel alone to a foreign country. I believe all of you, my fellow graduates, know that feeling of leaving your old school friends, and even families for some, to start a new journey here. That is the challenge and the sacrifice we've all come through. But today, look at how far we have come. By the University Handbook, Melbourne graduates are described as academically outstanding, practically grounded, socially responsible, and expected to be influential citizens with high leadership potential. If this is too hard to believe, let me put it into a student's perspective. We're now proved to be capable of cramming 12 weeks worth of subject content in our brains in 1 week. Sword back. We're now qualified graduates, trained extensively in problem solving, teamwork, communicating, time management, and many other essential life skills. Most importantly, we're more than just members coming out of educational production line with a science degree. During the transitioning period we shared at uni, I know some of you have become financially independent. Some of you have found a special someone to share life with. Some of you have established lifelong friendships and networks. These significant experiences have determined different trajectories for each of us. No matter how terrifying it may have seemed in the beginning, the last 3 years have been a wonderful time which we will always look back on fondly. And we must not forget that in order for us to come this far, we owe immense gratitude to the dedicated academic and professional staff who have imparted wisdom to us, nurtured our talents, and guided our way towards this moment and beyond. Thanks must also go to our loved ones, our families and friends. They have fostered our passion in the beginning and have continued to support us in both our academic and personal life. In particular, my international education has exerted great financial pressure on my parents, and I would not have been able to stand here today if it hadn't been for their generosity. So here I am, ready to continue on to the next stage of my life. Honestly, the fear of uncertainty still hovers over me, but I am no longer lost in my direction. Instead, I am excited by all the future possibilities, more than ever, because now I'm better prepared even for the toughest challenges. Perhaps this is the most important lesson I learned from my university experience. No matter how much you think you're losing control of your life, you must have faith in yourself because a solution will always rise from the challenge. So finally, congratulations class 2014. Because of the path you've chosen, I know that each and every one of you here today has an incredibly bright future ahead. Thank you.
At the western end of the gallery level, upstairs in this building. Thank you for coming.